Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading Satellite Office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Monday, January the 22nd, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. Want to first start off by taking a look to see how the indices closed out the session here. The Dow Jones was up a little over 62.5 points here. Well, actually, not even a little over, but it was up 62.51 points. The NASDAQ was up close to 8.5 points here, closing the session out up 8.47. And the S&P 500 was up a little over 6.5 points here, closing out the session at 6.58 to the top side. If we take a look at the breadth here, we had 4,219 issues advancing. We had 1,991 issues declining on the NYSE, NASDAQ, and AMEX. Therefore, it was about a 2-to-1 ratio in favor of the bulls today. On the breadth side, we had 1,092 stocks hitting new highs today, and we had 57 issues making new lows. So therefore, breadth was definitely in favor of the bulls today, and we continue to make this push to the top side. Saw a little bit of weakness in the technology sector like a Microsoft, Oracle, Cisco, but aside from that, green day across the board and just in the overall broad market and just about in every key sector across the board. So let's go and take a look at the SPY daily chart. SPY closing the session up 80 cents. A little over 0.5%, 0.54% to the top side, closing out at 149.13, closing above that key 149 level. All right, and at the same time, another consecutive close above that 148 level. To get the next level of resistance on the SPY, you really got to go to your weekly chart here. So let's take a look at our weekly chart. And what I'm seeing on the weekly chart as resistance is going to be coming in around this 151 half level. All right, 150, 150. And if we take a look at the monthly chart here, you can see some resistance that we're going to be looking for. Let me zoom in the chart for you guys here. It's going to be coming in around this 153 level, which comes from these highs that we made back here in November and December of 2007. So that's the level to watch. Here we're going to have some slight resistance at 150, 1/2. But then I think the next target on the SPY is around the 153 level. Again, the market's up a lot. But at the same time, we are just really, this trend is starting to pick up some momentum to the top side here. We had some good earnings reports come out from Google and IBM and Cree. All right, so therefore, this market can have some more juice to push up tomorrow. Now, if the Qs get in line, because remember, the Qs have been lagging, so therefore, let's take a look at the Qs now. All right, take a look at the Qs here, and you can see that the Qs are closing the session out at 67.18, up 11 cents. And you can see we still remain below this key range that we've been tracking with you guys and telling you guys to watch between the 66.22 area and this 67.38 area. However, looking at the Qs right now after hours, you can see here that the Qs are currently trading at 67.58. Okay. So therefore, they are going to be they're currently trading right here inside this little range that we've been watching for this overhead supply area that we have right here. So as long as the Qs can hold above 67.50 tomorrow, I think the Qs will be able to push the market up for another leg higher and let the IWM continue to do its thing, which IWM has just been in beast mode, and the SPY, which is continuing now to finally pick up some more momentum and traction. As you guys recall, I did talk about the ES showing us a bull channel in our proprietary channel analysis here. If you guys follow me on my blog on Facebook at Chris Cooper, or if you guys follow me, if you guys been watching the videos, you guys know I've been talking about this nice little bull flag that we had on our system here, on my system, that broke out, and so far that measured moves gives you a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4 channels. So 1, 2, 3, 4 channels. So we're about just close to target. Doesn't mean we can't push higher, but just letting you guys know that we've been watching this market to the top side since we broke out this nice consolidation that we've been giving to our followers and to our subscribers that are subscribed to our YouTube channel, My Wall Street TV. If you have not followed the subscribe to our YouTube channel yet, I highly recommend that you go do that, as we've been providing a lot of good analysis here, and we've been nailing it left and right in our intraday chat room, which you can email me at ccooper@wallstreettrading.com if you want access to that chat room. In any case, here, let's take, so the Qs above 67.50, 67.40 looks good, holding above that level. We can start chomping through this resistance that we have from this overhead supply that we, developed from this area right here. All right, and supports all the way down here. I would use 66.75, the little range that we've been kind of trading in right here. Now taking a look at the IWM, which has again been in beast mode here, up another 64 cents today. You guys can see the IWM has this nice little upward channel in it that we're breaking the top side of the channel. And if you guys know how these upward channels, how they develop and how they trade, whenever you have an upward channel that doesn't resolve to the downside, this is at a slight angle here, and it breaks to the top, so we get consecutive closes above the top of that resistance area. That's usually when you have that's usually a sign that momentum is about to start picking up, and bids are actually starting to hold above these levels. All right, because usually what happens is that people will usually try to get short and have their stops up here somewhere. All right, trying to short the top of the channel, but that doesn't seem to be working right here. And this is kind of like a tight channel anyway to begin with. But as long as we can hold above this 88 level, I think we have to continue to watch IW to the long side. All right, which that has been working, and this thing continues to make new highs on the Russell 2000. All right, let's take a look at the dollar futures chart here. The dollar futures, continue to look like they want to break down here. We still remain inside this little area below the 80.25 level. Again, we broke above the 80.25 level, then broke right back below it right here. So my opinion, as long as we can hold it below this 80.25 level, I think we have a good chance of this thing finally putting in a lower high on the dollar and giving us a signal that this thing's ready to go down, possibly back to the bottom of this little area right here. And if you take a look across the board today, the commodity sector was pretty strong. And we'll take a look at those here shortly. Let's take a look at the euro dollar first. See what the euro dollar did today. See if it's still holding up pretty well. Euro dollar is still holding in our little analysis. Well, kind of pretty much just trading sideways right now. Nothing going on there. And as we like to watch this along with the US dollar, this is just trading sideways, possibly consolidating for its next move higher off of this little range break in our proprietary channel analysis here. So in any case here, let's take a look at the gold. I want to look at gold futures. Gold futures are still below 1700, but they are making their way up towards that level, holding up pretty nice now. Starting to feel like more participants are starting to maybe leg their way into gold. You guys take a look at the GLD. All right, the GLD was up 58 cents today. The GLD still remains in this little upward channel that we have from this inflection point, this inflection point, this inflection point. But once we can start holding above Thursday's highs, all right, which that level is 161.83, call it 162. Once we could get above 162, so not 162, once we can get above 164.40, call it 165, 164 half or 165, we can get some nice traction here in the GLD. And as long as we can continue to remain above this 162 half area, I'm going to be looking for a nice little consolidation for a move out of this area right here. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, if you go to our weekend review video that we have on our My Wall Street TV YouTube channel, you will see our kind of intermediate to short-term look on gold as far as where it could be heading in the next couple weeks here and what type of pattern it has on the weekly time frames that we're looking to see if it plays out. Now, silver has been trading stronger than gold. Silver was up 31 cents today, up 1%. SLW was one of our main calls in silver. If you take a look at what silver wheaton did today, it broke past that key trend line that I've been highlighting to you guys, and this is going to be in buy pullback mode now. With most people are probably long the stock, including swing traders now, along the stock with a stop below this nice little 36 base that it was building, and it triggered a breakout once it broke out this nice little tight range off that little up move. So the nice little bull flag setting up here. From this little 34.25 level, call it to the top of the flag around 30, call it 34.50 to 30, 650. We're looking for $2 move off of this flag area, which should take it to like around 37.50, call it 38, which gives us this next target right here, which lines up with the next resistance level. So keep SLW on watch if you're looking to play the silver. Back to the silver though, SLV. Now ever since it was holding that 29 level down there, we were watching it, and now you have this key trend line that you could draw in right here as a potential target on it, which lines up with this other key trend line around this 30, 32 area. So SLV looks good as long as it can continue to hold above this 30 half level from this prior resistance, which now has support on this side. We like it to the long side up towards that 32 level, 32.50 area. Let's take a look at crude oil via the crude oil futures first here. All right, crude oil futures continue to chop, through this resistance here that we mentioned, overhead supply. All right, now we're pretty much kind of in the upper 50, above the 50% range of this little overhead supply that we had right here, and our target is 98. And if you guys recall from our weekend review videos, we've been mentioning the fact that we're looking for crude oil to make a big move sometime this year out of this little triangle that it's been trading in. And if you take a look at the weekly time frame, it already broke past this momentum trend line right here. Next target, if this thing is going to be towards 100, over 100, we have 105. So what is crude oil telling us? Is there more demand coming in crude oil here? Is there same demand but less supply on the market, so it's pushing prices kind of higher? All right, we're going to have to look to see what this wants to do. But if this thing gets over 98 and gets back over 100, that could cause some pressure. Obviously, we don't want crude oil prices to get too out of control. That's definitely going to come and affect us as a retail consumers, or the consumers in general. It's going to affect our bottom line when we get our paychecks. We have to go start putting more money into our gas tanks, because we were paying cheap energy prices down here. If it gets back above 100, that's going to be a problem for us. Me especially, living in South Florida where you have to drive everywhere. I've been noticing the fact that I've been paying for cheap gas, and it's been allowing me to drive to different places, and I have to put less gas in the tank, less money in the gas tank. So we'll see how that plays out. In any case, USO, since some of you guys like to watch the USO, remember, USO was lagging behind the crude oil futures, as the crude oil futures, were in that supply zone, and now the USO is finally just now starting to break that supply zone. USO has a gap fill right here at 35.57, which is our next target from this little gap that took place back here in September. All right, what else did I want to go over with you guys? Volatility index, the VIX, closed down 3 cents, closed at 1243. Looks to go lower. Again, we're back. We're still hanging above that key trend line that we were watching from the breakout that we called back here in October. But now we're looking for a back test of that trend line around the 11, call it 1125 area or so, and that'll probably be a good area to pick up some cheap volatility. However, if we break back below that trend line and we start falling back inside this channel, then that would not be good if you're looking to buy volatility, or if you're long volatility, as that thing could continue to sell off more. I mean, how low can the VIX really go is the question. Looking back here at 1999 levels, this thing, 1994 levels, this thing was all the way down at 982. So, it could definitely go down more if it wanted to. We'll have to see how that plays out. Again, I highly recommend, if you're long some stocks, to to buy some protection on your positions. I was just watching Fast Money, and these guys are talking about how they're long stocks, and they're they're kind of locking in their gains with that they made with their stocks now via options and protecting their positions, which makes sense. So I'm recommending some of you swing traders out there to do the same thing. Me personally, I don't hold any overnight trades. We don't hold any overnight trades, mostly any of our traders. Therefore, we don't have to worry about that overnight risk or that overnight protection, as we're usually in stocks in the morning and out of them by the end of the day. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of key stocks here. IBM is, IBM is currently trading after hours here at $2. Not $2, excuse me. At $204 here, 204. You can see how this thing just took off after hours. You have Google after hours, which is trading at 737.50 on the highs. And then you have the triple Qs, again, which we're going to be watching tomorrow, which I think if you really want to trade the Qs tomorrow, you can just go ahead and trade the Qs instead of trading the technology stocks. You can just trade the Qs, as they should have a nice momentum move if this bid holds in the market, and these bid holds in these large cap tech stocks that came out with earnings after the bell. The Qs should be able to make a nice push to those 67.50s and hold above that level like it is right now. So we'll see how that plays out. But anyway, back to some of the daily charts in the stock. Energy stocks are on the radar. We've been talking about the energy stocks getting some money flow going into them here. We talked about the best way to trade that was the ERX, and we call the ERX long around the 55 level. You can see it's here at 58.82. I actually got my old man involved in this, so some of you swing traders out there, this was a good pickup for you guys, and that is paying off pretty well for him. I didn't pick them up myself, but he picks them up. What else here? ERX, that's working out. But we've been talking about NBL. Let's see what NBL did today. Up $2.42, one of the stronger energy stocks out there. NBL in beast mode today. A lot of them still have more room to go. HES up $1.31. MRO up 46 cents. Some of the natural gas stocks are starting to get their groove back. DVN's looking pretty good, up 71 cents. CHK breaking out that little range that has been in between 18 and the 1650 level for the past since November. Exxon Mobil looking like it's ready to go. CVX was the larger stock that was the bigger the other energy company, that is to say integrated energy company, large cap one that's has been moving up pretty well, a little bit faster than ExxonMobil, but still looks pretty good to go higher. Keep an eye on this one over 116. Next target's going to be back towards 119. If you guys recall, this thing is back at the area where it was at before it gapped down when they came out with that news that they were going to that they were going to feel some pressure on their numbers for their earnings report based on the fact that they had to shut down some of their refineries or some of their oil drills or something like that from the hurricane. I forgot what the news was. I actually was going around to the different colleges, and when I was doing my little seminar, my little education things for the colleges in the area up over here in the Boca area, West Palm Beach, down here in the South Florida Tri-County area, I actually use this as an example of how fundamental news can mess up technical charts and stuff like that. Anyway, some interesting stuff there. Anyway, so this CVX is back at the levels that it was at before we got that bad news out. And they have earnings coming out in 2 weeks, and this looks pretty good going into earnings. Go keep an eye on this right here. Let's take a look at ConocoPhillips, COP, back at that 60 level. All right, look for this one to break over 60. They have earnings coming out next week, and this one looks pretty good if you buy the 60 strike, maybe the February 60 strike calls. I actually was 1 week. I was actually 1 week early on this here as I bought the 60 calls sometime over here. Then I had to sit to this pullback, and that time decay just kind of crushed me. I had to wipe them out for a small loss last week on those calls that I had in my little personal Scott Trade little option swing account. But they look good to be put back on with the February month expiration. All right, February or March, with 60 strikes. So keep an eye on this stuff here, guys. Energy stocks are looking good. We'll obviously have some more stocks to watch tomorrow in our chat room. Amazon's kind of lagging right now behind, but this one could get some juice as well if it continues to hold this 269 level and the Qs start to pick up to the top side. This has been one of the leaders. It's kind of just slowing down right now. I think it maybe needs to consolidate a little bit more. So aside from that, hope you guys had a great trading day today. We had some great call outs in the chat room. If you want access to our chat room, email me at ccooper@wallstreettrading.com. Follow us on Facebook at Wall Street Trading. We have a lot of news and stuff and trades posted there. All right, that's about it, guys. Have a great night, and I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:20 a.m. Cheers.